Testing. Everybody can hear me? I think so. Okay, thanks. All right. A lot of people in the room, so I will try to do my best. Happy to see you all. I want to talk today about the hidden value of niche open source projects, hoping that can inspire some folks. It's not going to be very technical, but hopefully some new things could emerge from it. I would like to start with the quick poll. Do you have on your computer a folder that is called project or side project or ideas, something like that? You can raise your hand. Yeah, a lot of us. And can you keep your hand raised if you've touched a project in this folder, so in the last month? That's this last week? Yeah, a little bit less, because we know side projects. This as well might also seem familiar. This is something I told myself a few months ago. I made it appear as a quote because that's how I thought, and this is exactly what I want to talk about today. So I'm Rémy. You can find me online almost anywhere, thank you, under the handle Hannequin. I'm a senior developer at thoughtbot, which is a consultancy which helps companies build great products and leverage their team. We operate from around the world in the EMEA region and the Americas. And then after the talk, don't hesitate to come and say hi. I would be happy to talk about anything. Keep in mind that I can hardly resist talking about astronomy or great food, but obviously we can talk about anything. So today we're going to talk about the path that a lot of side projects take, the obstacles we face, how we can overcome them, and how we can find value in them. Just to start quickly, I love astronomy. I've been trying to build some apps related to it for a while. But when I started, only a few data was available, and sometimes in a format that was not really easy to use. For example, this is a screenshot from the website Heavens Above, which provides a lot of data about the sky. The work done by Chris Pitt, the author, is amazing. It's a great piece of information. But as you can see, this is HTML. So if I wanted to access this data, I would have to scrap the website, which is not really nice to the author. Also quite a pain to do. So I had to find another way. And I like the idea that astronomical data should be universal, pun intended, and should be available to everyone. So I started investigating how Chris Pitt was able to produce such precise data and see if I could do it myself maybe. And while the idea grew on me, I wanted to see maybe this could be open source so that other folks could see it, contribute to it, and just have opinions. So I started Astronoby, which is an open source Ruby library that provides astronomical data and events. Just a quick look, this is not exactly about astronomy, but just a quick look, this is how it looks. It enables to compute the position of planets, times when they rise, when they set, moon phases, much, much more. Here, for example, is how you can have the altitude of Mars. The altitude is how high the object is in the sky at a given time from anywhere on Earth. But keep in mind that it took me 2 years to build the first minor version of Astronoby. It's still not a major version yet, and it took me 2 years to build it. That's the first thing to keep in mind about side projects. It takes a lot of time, and there are many obstacles we face. Who actually needs Astronoby? Not a lot. Who actually needs to compute moon phases in Ruby? Not a lot of people, because actually nobody cares. And I'm not saying this in a bitter way, but nobody really cares, probably in this audience as well. Nobody cares about it, and it's fine. It's not bitter, it's just an objective fact. And even if you wanted to do the same, you can do it in Python for years with many more features, more performance. So it already exists. And then you have the classical imposter syndrome. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an astronomer. So how can I pretend to build this data right? Who is going to trust me? This is a real concern because it's hard to find legitimacy and to trust ourselves. And then sometimes you just have your feelings hurt. You work hard on features, improvements, code quality, and everything remains unnoticed. You know how much effort and love you've put into it, but there is just nobody to witness it. For example, I wrote a blog post about the biggest refactoring of Astronomy, which took me months to realize. It enabled the best features I brought to the library so far, and I barely got any reaction and feedback because, as I said earlier, there is a limited interest for this. So at this point, you might be thinking that the value of this project is actually none. It's just a waste of time. And I think it's natural to feel this way. I believe we all do at some point. But now that I have destroyed all hopes and dreams in the audience, I will try to build them back up. The first thing is to keep and boost the motivation. And we can start easy because we tend to forget it, but why did you start working on this project in the first place? You actually like your topic, you like what you're working on. It's exciting, you're having good time, and we could just stop here. If you're having good time, you don't need much more. But there are many more things after that. You can use all your excitement and hobbies and interests to build your motivation and to keep working on something for a long time. And then you can have also a personal mission or something that guides you. When I started my studies, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And it turns out that programming was giving me the same thrill of solving problems as my math exercises in high school. I know sometimes I'm a little bit weird, it might be just me, but I had this sense of challenge. And after the wheel of achieving my goal of providing astronomical data in Ruby, that got me excited and motivated. It can help also to add a little bit of project management, slightly. You can have small thresholds that you can achieve easily and then celebrate them the way you want. You can also use the community, everyone here, everyone on the internet, to help you stay motivated as a witness of your progress. A while ago, I wanted to lose some weight, so I started eating healthier, and I said it around me so that I could use the community and the people around me to help me achieve that through accountability. It didn't work so well, still a little bit chubby, but at least it was worth trying. And I feel that we can use everyone around us to just build that motivation and trust. And speaking about the community, there are a lot of examples in the community of people who started niche projects and made them really successful. We have the Faker Gem, you probably know it. It started almost 20 years ago. Initially, it was really, really niche, and now it's a very popular gem used for testing, seeding, development. Hundreds of individual contributors, thousands of stars. It's really a big one. You have SQLite that you probably also know. Initially, it started just to have a small library to provide a lightweight database engine. And now it's even used by NASA on a Mars rover. Even COSAI, I don't know if everybody knows COSAI, but it displays a cow in the terminal in ASCII. Yeah, it exists. And it started as an Easter egg, but now it's everywhere on almost all operating systems. And it's even used just to checking status. So even a very niche need, or no need actually, can become successful. But the best part is that you have the opportunity to grow through your side projects. The first thing is you're going to learn a lot about open source. What is versioning exactly? How do you deal with breaking changes? These are things that we don't always have the opportunity to work on in our day-to-day job. But once you publish your library, the public API is set in stone, and your project becomes a dependency for other projects, for others. And this completely changes the way you think about your project, and it can become really exciting. And then it's not always exciting, probably not often, but documentation is also an opportunity because your niche interest is also the interest of others. So you want to help them understand your project, how to use it. You probably also want to make yourself a favor because it's easy to get lost in your own code after months of years. So you will learn how to write a good README, what's important to document, how to structure it, what's important in changelog, and how to document the evolution of your project so that new maintainers, new contributors could understand where we come from and where we're going to. You probably want to know how to write maintainable code, readable code, and about performance. These are questions I can't answer now, but you will find some answers while working on your project. In the Ruby community, we have a strong appeal for code quality and a big expertise on testing. So this is also the opportunity to build strong programming skills. And the community is really important. At this point, you might be thinking, I have to learn all that just for my side projects. And the answer is no, you don't have to. But it will come naturally as you work on your project with the community. Because there is already a lot of value just writing the code in public, but it's not only about that. Open source is not only about writing your code and making it readable for others. It's about sharing your knowledge, collaborating, building a community around your project. An open source library means that people can look into it, contribute to it, have opinions, and they can build on top of it. Then you become responsible for something that didn't exist before. And it's also a great way to enter the world of open source at your own pace, because you don't have to be a regular or permanent Rails contributor to be an open source Ruby developer. You can start today and call yourself a Ruby open source developer. And then when your code is public, you might want to make it better, more efficient, more elegant. And either you are already a very experienced developer, congrats, and then you're going to show off your skills, which is nice, or you're going to learn on the way. For me, for example, I wanted to know more about applying object-oriented programming in my algorithm, or building a nicer API for the end user, or find a way to test my code better, or even see a little bit more about domain-driven design. These were questions I asked myself about while working as Astronobit, but I didn't plan working on them. So this first code, please forgive me, this is old code, but I want to show you. This comes from Astronobit, the very first version. And at that time, to deal with angles, I had dedicated classes that were responsible for converting from one unit to another. So you had to really convert the object first and then compare the value, which works. It's just not really elegant. After that, I tried to implement value objects, which is a design pattern that encapsulates a value and its unit inside an object so that you can compare the objects directly without taking care of how they were initialized in the first place. So now I can compare just the two objects with the equality operator, and that's it. They know how to talk to each other. Another example, brace yourself, you don't have to read it, but I will explain really shortly. This was the way to get the altitude of, let's say, the sun in the sky. As you can see, I had to deal with, not I, but anyone using astronomy had to deal with a lot of conversions. You have ecliptic coordinates, whatever that is, and then you convert them to equatorial with a parameter, and then to horizontal. Horizontal is going to be useful, but it's still yet another conversion. And then finally you have the altitude, but you have to convert it to degrees and then to a value. Again, it works. Technically, the information is accessible. It's not really nice to the user, and it makes the new user having to learn about your library before using it. After that, I tried to focus on the domain and to have something closer to what the people could be interested in. So I implemented some domain-driven design principles, and now it's a bit clearer, in my opinion. You have still the same object, but you observe it as an observer, as described by the API. You get the horizontal coordinates, so horizontal means up and down, left and right in the sky, so here or here. The altitude, which is up and down, and finally you can have it in degrees or radians or whatever unit that is affordable for you. But at least the user doesn't have to learn a lot about your library before. So these were things that just happened to me. I learned about value objects, domain-driven design, time scales, how to deal with time in Ruby, numeric times, floating point numbers, precision. And these are things I didn't really plan on working on or learning, but it just got in the way. So this is learning through serendipity. Another great thing is these projects can create a lot of opportunities. It doesn't really matter if it's niche because you actually have something to say and you're one of the very few people who can say it. So while working on your project, there are opportunities to share your ideas, your progress. You're going to have many blog post ideas. You can talk about them in a podcast. You can do a meetup presentation. These are things that happened to me, again, thanks to astronomy and this kind of projects. But I didn't plan doing them. It's just that I had new information and new things that could be shared thanks to these projects. And then you can learn in public. I strongly recommend, because we are really lucky to be in a world like we are at the moment, in an industry where a lot of knowledge is shared publicly, and we learn from each other. So being part of this initiative is really rewarding. We just learn together and we make the software grow together. So learning public is about sharing what you learn, structuring your thoughts. It's a great way to share your interests, but also it favors feedback, collaboration. And you can start small, like if you have an idea, you can go to Mastodon and just write a toot. I know it's weird to say toot, but it's how it is. And it's really unlikely that you're going to be the very first person having this idea or sharing this point of view. But it doesn't matter, because if you just learned it, it means that you already have something more to share with the rest of the world. And then you can maybe do a podcast about something that got you excited recently. For example, I know I have a lot of practice to make on writing in English, and as you can hear, my very French accent sometimes, but at least practice helps. And these opportunities comes from this project. Meetups all around the world, they're all waiting for new topics or core topics that already exist, but we need to have them again and again because they are really fundamental for the community to be shared, for newcomers, for less newcomers, for everyone. And who knows, maybe one day you can submit a talk to a conference, get lucky, be absolutely terrified to be on stage like I am at the moment, but meeting new people and having new opportunities. It expands visibility and it creates opportunities. And speaking about opportunities, last year, I was contacted on a social network by someone who wanted to use astronomy on their project. So I was extremely excited. I didn't get to work with them specifically on astronomy, but I ended up as a consultant on their project for thoughtbot. So this can be an idea to sell at your company, to sell open source development time, because it brings money and clients. And one last thing is, you don't have to take yourself seriously, because if it's niche and you feel like you're all alone doing your thing, it means that also you can take your time, try things, make mistakes. Nobody is expecting anything from you, so you can do whatever you want. You can focus on either the code, the features, the sharing, the community, the fun, or all of that. And if you don't do side projects, that's very fine too. I know this talk is really focused on having side projects, but you don't have to. There are many other occasions to have perseverance and passions rewarded. So I don't think you're wasting your time on these projects. You're actually having fun, you're learning, you're growing. You don't need appreciation to have a good time. Who needs astronomy? Not a lot of people, but some. You're not alone. As we sometimes say, if it's useless, then it's indispensable. Oh, yeah, I guess you get it. But it's useful. The fact that you are doing it means that there is at least one person that has interest for it. And you will be surprised to see that there are actually many other folks who share your interest. Maybe we do need to compute astronomical data in Ruby, because Ruby is such a great language, so expressive, so elegant. but yet it's not used that much in the scientific community. And maybe that can change now, and maybe we can make it grow in that direction as well through these projects, because we are all part of the Ruby community. And it turns out that there is a weather application in the end which really needs astronomical data. And today, I'm lucky enough to have astronomy used by someone else's a weather app called Hello Weather available. I don't own it, so do whatever you want, but it's a great app. And it uses astronomy every day on production. I know it's hard to get rid of the imposter syndrome. We often want to do things right. We are afraid of making mistakes. But there are many definitions of right. And by doing it your way, you're bringing your own style, your own vision, and this might become the new right way in the future. Who knows? And finally, my favorite, because it's the most easy, it's easy. You are learning, you are growing, you are meeting people, you are having fun. So yeah, it's worth it. Whatever you do, it's just worth it. You are having progress in your life from that. All right, I hope I didn't turn this talk into some kind of lifestyle program. I just wanted to share my experience. It's true, it's not always easy. You're going to face moments of doubt. You might want to give up multiple times, and you might feel like it's not worth it. But really, if you love it, if you are learning, just do it, because you will be surprised by how much you can learn and how much you can grow from these tiny, small projects. One day you might receive a GitHub issue telling you bad news, and you will be incredibly happy about that, because it means that somebody else has at least a little bit of interest about that. I try to fix it, but yeah, it's not always easy. If you want to start, remember the folder I asked you about at the beginning. You can take any project from this folder, the one you love the most, preferably, and just put it on GitHub publicly. Add a README and share it with your friends. Just ask for one piece of feedback, and then it begins. Please don't hesitate to ping me personally. I would love to see a new gem emerge for the community, by the community. It might become the beginning of a new adventure, but even if it's not, at least you will have shared something that you love with the rest of the world. You can also use social media just to ask for help and feedback, because I believe we are a very friendly and open community. And you can use also initiatives like First Ruby Friend to find a mentor and help you get started. I believe the program is closed for 2025, but it will return next year. And finally, if you are excited about open source, thoughtbot is organizing an online open summit in October 31st with many workshops and talks about the open source we do with thoughtbot and with the community. So to conclude, I invite you to let your passions guide you. Niche projects open source are the best because they will make you grow and be excited about work, which is not something that happens constantly. Worst case scenario, you will have a new folder called projects with a little bit more experience and a little bit more confidence. Thank you.